Now, this is quite a story from NASA because for the second time in history, a man-made object has left our solar system. NASA is saying the Voyager 2 probe is now in a space between the stars after exiting the sun's protective bubble, which is called the heliosphere.
For decades, Voyager 2 carried the wild dreams and burning curiosity of humanity farther than any other spacecraft, except its twin, Voyager 1. Launched back in 1977, it slipped silently past the edges of our solar system, sending back faint but priceless whispers from the great unknown, a mission full of grit, mystery, and wonder. Every signal from Voyager 2 felt like a quiet shout from the cosmos, proof that even across mind-bending distances, our ambition and tech could touch the stars. But then, the final signal arrived, and the silence that followed hit like a punch. It wasn't just some technical glitch, it was a heavy, undeniable moment, the confirmation everyone had dreaded. Voyager 2 had finally reached its limits, not just of space, but of our reach. Before we go on, smash that like and subscribe for more wild updates. That last transmission was shaky, chopped up, and impossible to repeat. No flashy shutdown, no dramatic farewell. It came like a ghost's whisper from billions of miles away. That signal was stretched thin, warped by distance and time itself. The data it carried was scattered, full of weird static and fading measurements, but it was just enough for the team to see what was happening. Critical systems were shutting down. The tiny nuclear power source, a radioisotope thermoelectric generator, had finally run down so far. Only one or two instruments could suck out enough juice to work here and there. That once steady rhythm of updates, gone, replaced by random sputters and broken fragments. NASA's Deep Space Network engineers, experts at spotting even the tiniest blips, knew right away what it meant. Voyager 2 had stepped into the very last chapter of its life out there in the void. And for many who worked on it, this wasn't just some technical milestone. It felt like saying goodbye to a legend. It felt like the curtain falling on one of humanity's most epic achievements. For nearly half a century, Voyager 2 had quietly stayed in the background of human progress, beaming back incredible data about planets, moons, magnetic fields, and cosmic radiation from places no other human-made thing had ever dared to explore, until its twin overtook it. It was the first craft to sweep past Uranus and Neptune, the only human messenger to visit those far-off worlds. And it carried that famous golden record, a time capsule packed with humanity's sounds, images, and greetings meant for any intelligent life that might one day find it. Voyager 2 wasn't just about science, it was about our very soul. It symbolized the bold reach of human imagination. But that final signal hit hard, a stark reminder that the craft had drifted into a realm where human hands simply couldn't follow anymore. Even with the sharpest deep space tech we've got, there are limits to how far a signal can stretch before it dissolves into nothingness. For years, the power had been dwindling, with engineers shutting down one system after another just to keep that precious communication alive a little longer. Everyone on the team knew the day would come when there'd be nothing left to shut down. And when that last shaky transmission came through, after days of tense silence, it left no doubt what had happened. The systems that kept Voyager 2 alive, letting it tell us where it was and what it saw, finally fell silent. Now it drifts alone in the interstellar dark, blind, voiceless, yet still with its antennas faithfully pointing toward Earth. There's something deeply heavy about losing touch with something that loyal, something that stayed true to us, even at the edge of forever. Voyager 2 was never just a piece of metal and circuits. It stood as a powerful symbol of our hunger to know what's out there and the patience to wait years, even decades, for the answers. Over time, it rose above its engineering to become something emotional, almost personal, like a faithful companion on humanity's wild journey into the great unknown. Every time it sent back data, even about the freezing emptiness between the stars, it felt like a reassuring nod that we were still connected to the mysteries beyond. Now, its silence is a chilling reminder of just how endless and lonely space really is. The ripple effects of this loss are already being felt across the scientific world. That final faint signal confirmed not only that Voyager 2's power had failed, but also hinted its orientation system had started to break down. Without stable attitude control, even a stray accidental signal becomes nearly impossible to catch. That one change alone marked the end of its usefulness, the end of its watch. For decades, Voyager 2 helped chart the edge of the heliosphere, the protective bubble of particles and magnetic fields blown out by the sun, and the strange space beyond. The priceless stream of data it sent about cosmic rays, plasma waves, and magnetic fields helped us draw the map of our solar system's true border. But now that stream has gone dark. Future missions will keep chasing answers, sure, but none will carry the same street legend status and momentum as Voyager 2. Engineers and scientists had braced for this day for years, even as they quietly hoped it might hang on a little longer, maybe pull off one more miracle. After all, Voyager 2 had surprised everyone before, but out there in the void, physics always gets the final word, and it don't play favorites. Those thermoelectric generators, powered by the slow decay of plutonium-238, were never built to last forever. Their juice had been dropping little by little for decades, and the power-sharing decisions got tougher every year. Engineers had to pick favorites, shutting some instruments down completely just to keep the transmitter barely alive. Once that delicate balance slipped too far, there was no turning back. That final ghostly signal confirmed it. The tipping point had arrived, and this time it was for good. The silence also hits like a wake-up call, shining a harsh light on our tech limits. Even with the sharpest minds, the slickest instruments, and decades of obsessive engineering, there comes a moment when our creations push farther than we can reach. Now Voyager 2 drifts through a stretch of space no other tool can see directly. Sure, the Deep Space Network still swings its massive radio dishes toward that corner of the sky, hunting for even the faintest carrier wave. But if any signal's still out there, it's way too warped and broken to decode anymore. Our ability to stay connected to something that far away has finally been outmatched, and that truth throws down the gauntlet for the next generation of missions. How do we build craft that last longer, talk farther, maybe even come back to us someday? Yet maybe the deepest punch from Voyager 2's last whisper isn't technical, it's straight up philosophical. For thousands of years, we've stared up at those stars, full of questions. The Voyager missions let us start answering them, not just through telescopes or math, but by actually going out there. They proved we could send a piece of ourselves into the abyss, and it could talk back. The silence of Voyager 2 is a hard reminder that every mission has its limits. But it also proves those limits can be pushed way beyond what anyone dared to dream. For 46 years and counting, Voyager 2 showed us how far we can really go. Voyager 2's journey was never about flashy pictures or instant thrills. It was a slow, steady reveal of secrets from the deep. Its cameras were shut off decades ago to save power, but its instruments kept listening to the delicate waves and ghostly particles floating through the vacuum. And when that last signal came, it felt like the craft sent one final breath, a faint sensory impression from the edge of nowhere. One last heartbeat from a machine designed to be tough, patient, and endlessly curious. That fading signal wasn't loud or sharp, but it carried the full weight of an era coming to an end. That soft, crackling pulse told us loud and clear, Voyager 2 had given us everything it had. This moment now stands as one of the quiet but massive milestones in the story of space exploration, a turning point written in whispers instead of fireworks. Soon enough, Voyager 2 will just be another wanderer among the stars, drifting past solar systems that may never even notice it passed by. But this isn't just another rock out there. This one carries intention. It was sent out with purpose, loaded with knowledge and a message for whoever, or whatever, might someday find it. That alone gives it meaning in the endless void, even if it never sends another word back. Voyager 2 could keep cruising for millions of years, a tiny artifact from a bold civilization that dared to push beyond its skies. And yeah, it's tempting to romanticize that moment, but beneath all the emotion, there's still gold in the science. Every scrap of data from those last days will be picked apart by scientists, hunting for hidden clues. They'll study every fragment of telemetry to figure out what systems collapsed first, which instruments hung on till the bitter end, and whether anything suggests the faintest chance of restarting contact, even a whisper of hope. That final signal will be preserved and analyzed, not just for closure, but because Voyager 2 has surprised us before. Maybe, just maybe, it has one more trick left to play. Hope. That's what launched Voyager 2 in the first place. It was never just about collecting numbers and charts. It was about presence, about shouting into the void, humanity was here, thinking, dreaming, exploring. Its silence now doesn't just confirm how far we've come. It also screams how much further we still have to go. It shines a harsh light on the gap between what we imagine and what we can actually do, a gap future generations will hustle to close. Voyager 2's last faint transmission might have sounded like a whisper, but its meaning echoes through time with massive force. Especially when you look at it through the lens of deep time and cosmic perspective, this craft has become a relic in motion, a stubborn, unstoppable testament to a species that once dared to reach beyond its tiny cradle. Now that its voice has fallen quiet, the meaning of its journey shifts. No longer an active explorer, but now a silent ambassador of Earth, carrying frozen echoes of our hopes and hustle, gliding through interstellar space without a word. The silence doesn't just mean the end of communication, it marks something bigger. Voyager 2 has crossed the line from working machine to celestial monument, and that transformation changes how we see exploration itself. We're used to measuring missions by their output, the experiments they run, the discoveries they beam back. But when all that stops, what's left is something even stronger, their legacy. Voyager 2's final faint message seals its graduation from a functioning craft to a legend drifting among the stars. Its path through the galaxy is no longer about what it finds next, but about its unstoppable endurance. In that way, it slides into an even deeper story, not just of space science, but of who we are as a civilization. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around the scale of what Voyager 2 is up against now. It's cruising through a stretch of space where nothing and no one will change for thousands of years. No planets to glide past, no suns to even aim for within reach. The gaps between stars are so enormous that even moving at its blazing speed, over 15 kilometers per second, it would still take more than 40,000 years to drift anywhere close to another star system. In that kind of setting, the silence of the spacecraft stops being just a technical issue. It turns into something deeper, something almost haunting. It's like a speck of human determination tossed into the void, moving with no guidance, no support, no reply. But make no mistake, its silent ride still sends out ripples way bigger than just symbolism. Voyager 2 is plowing through interstellar dust, magnetic fields, and maybe even tiny particles no human creation has ever touched before. Sure, it can't analyze or tell us about those encounters anymore, but its body is still feeling all of it. The wear and tear on its skin, the radiation battering its metal, the slow breakdown of its materials, all of it turning the spacecraft itself into one massive passive experiment. One day, maybe centuries from now, if another mission somehow catches up to it, engineers could learn a ton just by studying how it held up. Its scarred metal body might even become the very first record of what interstellar space does to human tech, kicking off the idea of interstellar archaeology. And if some other civilization, whether from another world or a distant future, ever stumbles across it, they'll find way more than just a machine. They'll uncover a time capsule of human ambition, full of our fingerprints and big dreams. That iconic golden record, still bolted to its frame, could still hold the sounds and snapshots of Earth, quiet, waiting, embedded in the hushed body of the craft. And with it comes a powerful idea, that intelligence once rose up on a little blue planet and boldly reached into the darkness with nothing but curiosity and grit. The distance between Voyager 2 and Earth isn't just about miles anymore. It's about time too. Every year, it drifts farther away, not just physically, but in how its story fits into each new generation. When Voyager 2 launched, the tech we take for granted today, personal computers, digital communication, GPS, didn't even exist in any real way. And yet, that scrappy craft kept going strong through the birth and death of those technologies. It outlasted political shakeups, waves of mission scientists, and the shifting moods of human culture. Now, As its voice falls silent, it stands as a bridge through time, linking the raw, fearless age of exploration to a future where that kind of audacity feels rare and priceless. Its ending also flips the script on what ambition means. Back in Voyager 2's day, ambition meant firing into the unknown, knowing full well you might not live to see the results. It meant betting on timelines that outlasted your career, maybe even your life. That kind of mission demanded not just brilliance, but patience. Now, the silence of the spacecraft screams louder than ever, reminding us how rare and tough that level of ambition really is. Modern space missions are often ruled by money, business plans, and politics. But Voyager 2? That was pure wonder. Its mission wasn't about claiming territory or making a quick buck. It was about seeing what no one had ever seen before and lasting as long as it possibly could. Even now, in silence, Voyager 2 keeps breaking barriers. It stands as the ultimate symbol of long-term thinking. Proof you can build something to live far beyond what's useful in the moment. It reminds us that exploration isn't always about conquest or payoff. It's about showing up, no matter how long it takes, no matter how faint the signal. Voyager 2 may no longer be part of what we actively listen to, but it's still out there, still part of our presence in the universe. The confirmation of Voyager 2's final signal cracks open one of the deepest questions in the philosophy of science, the tangled relationship between data and meaning. For decades, Voyager 2 was a steady stream of hard facts. Clean, measurable, testable. It fed us numbers we could graph, compare, and argue over. But when those readings stopped, the mission slipped into a whole new phase, no longer about data, but about story. The story of Voyager 2 now becomes a priceless inheritance, one we've got to protect and retell. Not just scientists, but also teachers, artists, and dreamers of the future must carry its tale forward. Its silence doesn't just call for analysis. It begs for interpretation, and that shift, from data to meaning, forces us to rethink how we value exploration itself. When Voyager 2 was still chirping back signals, its value was obvious. It was useful. But now, its value lies in what it stands for. It dares future generations to ask bigger questions. How do we design missions that endure, not just through a machine's lifetime, but across entire cultural eras? What does it mean to build something not just to use, but to find someday? How do we get humanity, not just a handful of engineers, ready to live in a universe where our messengers outlive our attention spans? That final signal also shines a spotlight on just how fragile our ability to listen really is. For all our fancy satellites and billion-dollar telescopes, the backbone that keeps us connected to deep space is under serious strain. The Deep Space Network, just 3 antenna sites scattered across the globe, is groaning under rising demand and shrinking budgets. Keeping in touch with old-school explorers like Voyager 2 takes more than expertise. It takes grit, politics, and funding. And losing that connection shows just how thin the thread really is, the delicate line that still ties Earth to its most distant traveler. Losing the ability to hear Voyager 2, even for a moment, is a chilling reminder that our technological reach is never promised. From a scientific point of view, that final confirmed message now becomes a crucial benchmark for mapping the harsh conditions of interstellar space. The exact moment the signal dropped, the energy dwindled, the possible failure in its orientation, all of it will feed into models of how long a spacecraft can survive out there. Already, scientists are hustling to turn those lessons into fuel for the next big thing, like NASA's proposed interstellar probe mission, now under study. Those next-gen probes aim to fly farther and endure longer than Voyager ever dreamed. But they'll only get there because Voyager 2 spent decades blazing the trail. This event also shines a spotlight on another problem nobody likes to talk about: long-term knowledge preservation. The tools we use to decode Voyager 2's faint signals are becoming dinosaurs, obsolete by the day. Keeping the ability to speak its language, the frequencies, protocols, even the quirky data formats, demands constant documentation and teaching across generations. Without that care, even if a signal somehow comes back in the future, it could be meaningless, because no one would remember how to understand it. Voyager 2's final signal isn't just a technical milestone, it's a dare to our civilization. Can we keep our scientific heritage alive for centuries? Or will we someday glance back at Voyager's story and realize we can't even read the very language we once wrote? Right now, Voyager 2 keeps cruising as part of a growing family of human-made wanderers, alongside its twin, Voyager 1, the Pioneer probes, and the New Horizons spacecraft. None of them can talk back after their power finally fades, but each one is a brave emissary, sent to stake our presence among the stars. Each of these far-flung explorers faces the same inevitable fate, silence. Yet each one also cuts a unique path, cracking open conceptual doors about what it really means to leave a mark in the cosmos. The fact that Voyager 2 now exists only as a trace forces us to reckon with scales of time and distance that make almost everything else we've done as a species look tiny. Voyager 2 won't crumble anytime soon. Space is cold, dry, and eerily still, perfect for preservation. The craft could stay intact for millions, even billions of years, drifting long after Earth's languages have morphed into something unrecognizable, long after continents have shifted and cities have crumbled into dust. Voyager 2 just keeps gliding on. Its endurance throws our own impermanence into sharp relief. It makes us think in geological terms, in galactic drift, in memories that stretch way beyond any civilization we've ever known. Just because we can't hear it anymore doesn't mean it stops existing, and that's where things get real. What if Voyager 2 actually outlives humanity itself, long after Earth becomes unlivable, whether from an asteroid, a collapsing climate, or the sun swallowing it whole? Voyager might still be out there. If that happens, it transforms from messenger to memorial, a quiet eulogy for a species that once dared to build something that could outlast its own mortality. That final faint signal starts to feel less like a goodbye from a machine, and more like a cosmic obituary for a whole chapter of Earth's story. That's why the mood surrounding Voyager's last whisper isn't just sad, it's filled with awe. It's rare for a hunk of metal and circuits to earn this kind of reverence, but Voyager 2 broke that mold a long time ago. It's not just a probe, it's a time capsule, a scout, a stubborn symbol of who we are at our best. The fact it kept going this long is already a miracle, and the fact that it's quiet now is a moment to reflect, not just on its epic journey, but on ours too. Even its silence makes us stop and think, because so much of Voyager 2's meaning didn't come from what it sent, but from the fact we were ready to listen. Listening, in this case, was more than just a technical trick. It was a cultural triumph. It took way more than antennas and algorithms. It demanded dedication, patience, and even a kind of cosmic empathy. But now, with nothing left to hear, the weight of meaning falls back on us. We have to decide how to interpret it, how to remember it, how to honor it. We're the ones who have to tell its story and figure out what we'll do with the inspiration it leaves behind. As Voyager 2 drifts on silently through the endless interstellar medium, something subtle but powerful is happening, not just to the craft itself, but to us, to how we think about deep space exploration. The end of communication doesn't just close out a mission. It forces us to rethink what it really means to explore when your explorer can't talk back anymore. What's left isn't just a machine anymore. It's a story, a living, drifting narrative that demands to be kept alive, built upon, and understood in ways that get more and more profound as time goes on. That last faint signal marks the exact moment when control slipped away for good. For decades, Voyager 2 was locked in this beautiful, delicate dance with Earth. Commands sent across billions of kilometers, and in return came priceless data, fascinating, irreplaceable. But once that feedback loop started to crack, the human hand could no longer steer its loyal emissary. From an engineering angle, this moment highlights a hard truth. The way we've always run space missions, dependent on feedback, has its limits. Without that return channel, a spacecraft stops being an extension of us and becomes something else entirely, a drifting legacy, out of reach but still ours. This breakdown in communication is more than a technical hiccup. It exposes the deep fragility baked into every mission that dares to reach too far. No matter how cutting-edge the tech gets, one thing stays true: communication is everything. Without it, even the most flawless mission loses all its purpose. No matter how perfectly built the hardware, when the signal breaks, the weight isn't just technical, it's deeply symbolic. From cave paintings to Wi-Fi to signals hurled across the stars, communication has always been at the heart of what makes us human. Losing that link with Voyager 2 isn't just losing data, it's like losing a voice. The probe becomes a mute envoy, still representing humanity, but unable to report where it's going or what it's seeing. In that state, it steps out of the active scientific method and becomes something else, a kind of cosmic monument, drifting silently along a path that no longer informs, but simply represents. As an object hurled into interstellar space, full of frozen memories and locked-away artifacts, Voyager 2 now mirrors something straight out of our oldest myths, the idea of the eternal witness. Like a stone tablet floating through endless time and space, it bears witness to stories no human will ever see. It might drift near strange gravitational anomalies, pass through invisible radiation storms, or glide through clouds of gas expelled by long-dead stars. It can't record or send back any of that, but it still experiences it all as a creation of human hands. In this way, Voyager 2's silent journey becomes a thin, invisible thread, stretched from humanity's earliest spacefaring dreams toward an unknown, undefined future. And its silence also forces us to confront another truth: how fragile our presence really is in a universe of extremes. Spacecraft like Voyager 2 rely on power, and power doesn't last forever. We talk about mission duration like it's only about good engineering, but in the end, it's dictated by the hard, unbending laws of physics. Voyager 2 reminds us that even the boldest missions are temporary, but their stories can echo far longer than their signals ever could. The slow decay of the radioactive fuel that powered Voyager 2 was always there, a quiet countdown hiding inside every single data packet it sent. Knowing that something as simple and unstoppable as radioactive decay could decide the lifespan of such a groundbreaking mission reminds us just how tough and limited the rules of exploration really are. It wasn't cosmic hazards or deadly collisions that silenced Voyager 2, it was entropy itself, that silent, steady draining of energy. Yet even that relentless fade gives us perspective. It highlights just how shockingly efficient this little craft was. Launched in an age when computing power was measured in kilobytes and programs were clunky stacks of punch cards, Voyager 2 pulled off the impossible. It cruised through 4 planetary encounters, adapted its software and hardware on the fly, and kept working deep into uncharted interstellar space. By today's standards, its memory and processing power are almost laughable, yet it achieved more with that tiny capacity than most modern devices ever will with 1,000 times the resources. That final silence isn't just the end of its power. It's a loud and proud exclamation mark on one of the most brilliant designs ever sent into the void. Voyager 2's last signal also reminds us of something wild, the huge mismatch between human lifespans and interstellar time. Most missions are planned for years, maybe a few decades if they're lucky, but Voyager 2 has already lived longer than many of the brilliant minds who built it. Some of its original engineers have passed away. Entire new generations have been born, grown up, and started families of their own, while this craft just kept drifting forward. Now that it can no longer speak, we're left face to face with a sobering truth. Time and space plays by its own rules, far beyond anything humans expect or plan for. If Voyager 2 were ever to pass near another star system, it wouldn't happen in our lifetime, or our grandchildren's. It could take tens of thousands of years. That's longer than all of recorded human history combined. The gap between our short human lives and the slow, majestic pace of space travel throws down a huge challenge for the future. How do we build projects that will inevitably outlive the people who started them? Voyager 2's final act sharpens that question and also shines a bright light on the limits of being trapped inside the solar system. For decades, our whole understanding of space was tied to the sun, its light, its pull, its magnetic shield. But Voyager 2 shattered that boundary. It crossed the heliopause, stepping out of the sun's protective bubble and into true interstellar space. That crossing wasn't just poetic, it gave us the first hard measurements of what lies beyond the heliosphere, data so rich it'll guide interstellar science for generations. Now, the final signal from Voyager 2 marks the end of a trail that started here on Earth and stretched all the way into the great unknown. Beyond that point, unmeasured, unfelt, at least by anything we've ever built. It's no longer just a place of knowledge, it's a place of possibility. In this way, Voyager 2 is more than just a spacecraft. It's a milestone, like ancient sailors stacking stones on some distant shore to prove they'd been there. Voyager 2 marks a point humanity once touched, a fixed coordinate on the galactic map, a spot we claimed, even if only for a moment. The meaning of that is massive. Future missions may use its path as a navigation beacon, a benchmark on the road to deeper interstellar travel. And if humanity ever cracks faster than light travel, or learns to ride out long-haul journeys through the stars, Voyager 2 could very well be the first human-made object they encounter out there. In that moment, its silent frame becomes a historic anchor, a reunion with our past. And that kind of transformation pushes us to rethink what space heritage really means, and how we honor the footprints we've left among the stars. We usually think of heritage in down-to-earth terms, ruins, relics, museum pieces we can touch. But what does heritage look like when it's out of reach, floating in the vacuum of space? Voyager 2 forces us to think bigger, to imagine preserving meaning across not just centuries but unimaginable distances. If it's never found again, does it still matter? Strangely enough, the answer might just be yes. Its meaning isn't tied only to someone discovering it someday. Its meaning also comes from the fact that it exists and that we know it exists. That alone turns it from just another machine into an icon. Even the desperate, practical steps taken in its final moments tell a deeper story. Every last attempt to bring it back, to squeeze out one more whisper of data, one more ping, one more heartbeat, shows off one of humanity's most stubborn traits, our refusal to let go. The Voyager 2 team didn't just throw up their hands and walk away. They tried everything, spinning antennas, rewriting software, rebalancing what little power was left, all just to keep it alive for a little longer. In that way, the final signal stands as a monument not just to the probe itself, but to the quiet determination of the people who kept it going. Their work wasn't flashy or headline-grabbing. It was steady, patient, relentless. And now that the signal has finally gone quiet, that persistence becomes a blueprint for how we chase big dreams, not just with machines, but with the whole pursuit of knowledge. That kind of commitment is even more vital when we look ahead to missions that will go even farther. Projects like Breakthrough Starshot, which plans to send tiny, light-powered probes to other stars, will wrestle with the same challenges Voyager faced. Signal delays, dying power supplies, and the ever-present threat of silence are all part of the deal. Voyager 2 shows us how to face those odds, with grit, creativity, and an unshakable faith in the journey itself. But unlike Voyager 2, these future missions will set out into a cosmos already marked by our presence. Voyager 2 blazed the trail. Its quiet journey through interstellar space has become a kind of spiritual infrastructure for all who follow. Just like the earliest explorers opened trade routes and pathways for generations to use, Voyager 2 has carved a symbolic road through the unknown. Even when it comes to ethics, that final faint signal forces us to ask some heavy questions. What responsibilities do we have toward the objects we've sent into the void? They're not alive, yet we give them roles, we talk to them like companions, and we even grieve for them when they're gone. In a way, spacecraft like Voyager 2 feel like pieces of us, extensions of our identity. That emotional bond demands new ways of thinking about space stewardship. Should these craft be protected as part of humanity's cultural heritage? Should international treaties be updated to respect the long journeys of these human-made emissaries? These aren't just abstract thoughts anymore. Voyager 2's silence makes these questions urgent, here and now. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who'd love to hear about Voyager 2's incredible journey. Drop your thoughts in the comments too. Do you think its final signal was a warning, a goodbye, or something else entirely? We'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.